Hello guys, Chris here and welcome back to another video. This one, my friends, I'm going to be testing the GeForce GTX 762GB model in Forza Horizon 5. This one is just a reference design, blower style cooler from MSI. I am using the latest Nvidia drivers available to it. Of course, it's a Kepler GPU, so it doesn't support the latest drivers anymore, unfortunately. So these are the 473.47. I am not overclocking the card. It actually gets a little bit hot because it's a blower style cooler. And over here in Tech Power Up's GPU, you can check out all of its specs. 1152 CUDA cores, 2GB DDR5 as I told you, and it released back in 2013. Over on the left, we're pairing it with a Ryzen 9 5900X and 32GB of RAM to avoid CPU bottlenecks, but you will get the same FPS if you pair it with an old i7, for example. And let's get right into the game, shall we? Alright, let's go for the settings first, and we're starting this off at 1080p resolution using the very low settings. And I am already inside of the game. I am not really very impressed, guys. I was actually expecting 60 FPS here, at least on average, and it seems like we're not really gonna get that because this is one of the least intensive areas in the map, of course. It's a little bit underwhelming from the 760, considering that the game does look a bit bad here on the very low settings, actually. Low settings actually look pretty decent, and medium settings look great, but yeah, well, it looks like a mobile game here with the 760, and unfortunately with Kepler GPUs and old drivers you get these really weird black marks here on the roads and everywhere. Some people say that it's because of the VRAM not being enough, but as we've seen with the GTX Titan, also a Kepler GPU, it has plenty of VRAM to run this absolutely fine. Almost crashed there. Oh boy, okay, we're good. And even though the VRAM wasn't maxed out on that card in this game, we still got those weird dark marks everywhere, basically, and they will get worse as you play the game. Weirdly, I don't know, I've never seen that before. So at least it's not a bad experience, guys. You can play it like this absolutely fine. It just doesn't look good, and it's not buttery smooth, obviously, but it doesn't stutter or anything like that, and I think you can still have a decent experience with a GTX 760, which is great. You know, Kepler hasn't really aged that well, and this was a mid-range GPU back then, and, well, it can still play Forza Horizon 5, one of the best optimized games probably right now. So getting down into the 40s at times, looking at the entire city, 35, 37, okay, it's not terrible. But again, I was really expecting way better coming from this card. And it does drop from 30 there slightly at the end of the tunnel, which is not a problem, honestly, guys. It's okay. It only happens outside of the tunnels, or getting out of the tunnels. So it's alright. Let's see if at 900p we can get those 60 FPS. Apparently not. It's in the 40s. I really want the 60 FPS experience here with the 760. I really thought it would get us that. I don't know, guys. It's just that this is a DirectX 12 title, of course, and Kepler graphics cards, well, as I told you, haven't aged well whatsoever, especially in newer APIs. They kind of suck. Oh boy, what the actual hell? This is the biggest jump that I've ever made. Okay, then. This is not where I want to go yet. Let's go in that direction. Let's see another jump, maybe? No? I don't know. Will it happen? It's a small jump, okay. Let's see the entire city again. It doesn't really change all that much coming from 1080p to 900p, does it, guys? Oh boy, and we're starting to see more and more dark areas in the road and stuff. Yeah, I mean, at the end of this benchmark, we will probably see tons of black marks on the roads. It's so weird how that happens. It's just the drivers, really, as I told you. Alright, let's go here now. 40s, 30s, again. And it drops to 30, so you only gained, like, 2 FPS. But let's see it now at 720p, okay? Let's do this. Just gonna resize this. It's way too big. Yes, guys, that's what she said. Okay, there we go. 1280 by 720. Looking pretty soft, actually. It usually doesn't look this soft. Alright, weird. Alright, inside of the game it doesn't look soft, so it's alright. Very pixelated, though, but I am using a 4K monitor. And alright, we're reaching 60s now, but it still drops from 60 frames per second, guys. Yeah, so if you're not in a city area, this could be destructible. Come on, Forza. I guess that would actually lower performance by a lot if they made everything destructible, right? I prefer better performance. But anyways, now outside of the big city, you can actually get 60 FPS. It's just a shame that it will definitely drop there. And it's probably still gonna drop into the 30s, I think. Let's see. Looking at the entire city. Please, be faster, McLaren. I gotta use a new car in the next settings. I'm also gonna utilize low settings here to see how much better it looks and how it performs, of course. Maybe that's a more viable option. And maybe medium settings is the best option, because since we can't really get 60 FPS plus all of the time, I would actually aim for a 30 FPS experience and play with a controller. That's probably the best way to play this game with a 760, and better graphics, of course. So yeah, medium settings is probably the way to go. But still, if you want the best FPS possible, this is it. 720p, very low, looks like crap. 31 FPS minimum there, and we get 60 on average. But if you spend a lot of time inside of a city, of course you're not going to get 60 on average. It's in the 40s more often than not. It's a very underwhelming experience here, but it's still playable anyway, so there's that. At least it's not terrible, right? You know what? Why not test out some 4K resolution as well? Since we are at the very low settings, that could be interesting, right? Just gonna resize this again. 3840 by 2160, very low. All right. And this is just stupid, I know. Oh, yes, it is so sharp right now. The difference coming from 720p to this is just insane. And it's in the 20s, you know, it's not too bad. You'd think that if we got around, what, like 40-something FPS at 1080p, it would get like 10 at 4K, but no, this game doesn't really drop the FPS a lot if you increase resolution like other games do. So it's interesting here, guys. It's still okay. It still gets 30s. It can still get 30 FPS around here in less intensive areas where there's nothing, basically. Cinematic experience here, guys. Wow, okay, it's definitely not good. You should avoid this. Now that I think of it, 1440p could be playable here, since 4K was so close to 30 at times. Like, if 1440p is playable, I think it's actually a great result for the 760. But okay, it does drop here into the 20s. Yeah, 1080p is definitely the highest resolution that you should go to when playing this game at very low settings with the 760, guys. This is just not smooth at all, although sometimes you can get 30 FPS, and maybe with the factory overclocked model of the card or with the manual overclock, you could get closer to 30 FPS, but I think looking at the entire city from here, for example, we're getting 24 FPS. I don't think any overclock will push it to 30. So there's that, guys. I guess it was pretty close. It was pretty close to be playable here at 1440p. Now let's go back down to 1080p, and I am gonna set it to the low settings preset, and we gotta restart the game now. Oh yes, I didn't show you this at the beginning, but whenever you launch this game, it says compatibility warning there because the drivers are outdated. Alright, it's dropping already into the 20s, but this first scene of the race is always really intensive. So it shouldn't really be that big of an issue while you're playing the game. And also, if you see a lot more cars on screen, you're gonna get less FPS, and that's what happens here. It's dropping into the 20s at times, guys. Still, I don't think this is as intensive as the other area, by the way, the big city, even though we are in the middle of a race here. Because you still see a lot of cars in the big city, and, well, it's a much more intensive area, of course. But yes, the results here during this race aren't really that impressive. I'm gonna stop it here. And the map is so dark right now. Look at all of those dark spots on the road. It's just, I really don't like that. Honestly, guys, if you have a Kepler GPU, I would avoid this game. Even if performance is good, like with the 780 Ti, it's just, like, it's weird. It shouldn't look like this. It's way too dark right now. Look at that. It's some bug with the shaders for sure because of the drivers. Anyways, in the least intensive areas of the map, you can get around 40 FPS, which is pretty good actually. I could play like this, but again, these look pretty weird, right? Like the freaking grass is black. It's not green anymore. It's actually everything is black. Look at it. I'm just gonna stop here for you to see properly. Like, look at that. That's just dark AF right in there as well. Like, what the hell is this? What is this? Like, come on, mate. Really? Alright, we're almost there, guys. Can I make this jump and get to it? Oh, boy. Come on. No, we're gonna crash. Yep, okay. Oh, my. Oh, look at that difference in terms of graphics. Maybe it looked better on very low settings just because there weren't as many graphical bugs on the screen. Like, what the hell? Anyways, dropping into the 30s around here. Not bad, actually. Pretty good. Although the race was slightly more intensive. And, okay, look in this direction, 30 FPS. Of course, getting out of the tunnel is going to be terrible. And here as well, 26, 24, 22. Damn, okay. So, well, we are not going to test medium settings after all, guys. I'm sorry, but it's just not very doable on low already. Let's go down to 900p. And can we get 30 plus now all of the time? I mean, we were getting 30 plus around this area, just not in the tunnel area, honestly, so it's not terrible. What's terrible is the graphics. Alright, as you can see, it's not bad, really. It's not dropping into the lower 30s anymore, so it's quite stable around here at least. Now looking at the entire city, we gained like 2 FPS. It's just so underwhelming, the FPS that you gain with the resolution drops. At least not dropping to like, oh boy, to 26 FPS inside of the tunnel. It still dropped to 24 there. Pretty bad stuff, guys. Ugh. Damn it. Okay, well, tons of mirrors on the road right there, actually. Did you see that? Because we crashed into so many cars here. It's starting to become okay in terms of FPS and not dropping too much from 30, but it's still terrible because of the graphics. So I really think that very low settings is the way to go with the 760, unfortunately. Now, 720p resolution, low settings, last settings of the video, and it's getting 40s. Again, it shouldn't really be that different from 900p or 1080p for that matter. I'm just curious to see how many FPS we get. Looking at the entire city again, we were seeing like, what, 35, 38 at times at 900p. And now we should see just slightly more than that. Maybe it's going to be 40 plus. I don't know. Oh boy, where are we going actually? It's not here. It's not in this direction. At least this car is way better to control off-road than the McLaren, so it's a little bit better here for the benchmark. Alright, let's do this. 36, 37, again, like, what, 2 more FPS than at 900p? I guess, almost the same thing. Yeah, clearly the Kepler GPU's Kepler architecture is not meant to be playing these newer titles, guys. It's very, very sad to see this. They could actually be playable and enjoyable if the graphics didn't look like crap, honestly. But yeah, since the graphics look like crap, I think you should avoid this game. Forza Horizon 4 will look much better than this because, well, it actually works, you know, and it also performs really well. It's well optimized and everything. And that's been it. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one very soon. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.